Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Rider Rambling. It's a bit of a different one today. As you can see, we're outside a motorcycle dealer in 盛. This is outsider. Motor shopping is the clothing bit above. 14 years ago today, I bought this motorcycle. If you can see it, I don't know. From outsider, 14 years ago today. In those 14 years, I've done nearly 200,000 kilometers. I'll put the actual amount in miles below. I'll give everything in kilometers today because that's what's happened with the bike, and as it's a French bike, it doesn't actually have miles on it. So I'm going to give you basically a 14-year review of a Honda Deauville NT700VA. So off we go. I'm going to follow the same route that I took 14 years ago. So, here we go, following the same route. I'll see if I can get it all finished in that time. I don't know. Okay, so, the bike came, I spec'd a Honda Topbox, the foot guards, sabots they're called in French, and a tank protector, and those were the extras that I actually spec'd for the bike, and the whole lot cost me €9,700 in total. Right. Since then, I've added a number of items, quite a few items actually. I'll try and go through them in chronological order, though I'm not going to guarantee it. So, one of the first things I added was a 𝗕𝗹𝗹𝗃𝗍𝗔 horn. It's no longer on the bike. It died a number of years ago. And it's a very good horn, I must admit. It's a very good horn. It's an air horn. It has a compressor on it, but it draws an enormous amount of power. So consequently, when the weather was cold or the bike didn't have sufficient power, the horn wouldn't run. So I actually connected up through a 𝗪𝗏𝗍𝗵 specialist relay that they did. I don't know if they still do it, but it was a specialist relay for the horn that they used to do. And the trigger came from the actual real horn. So if the 𝗕𝗹𝗹 didn't work, then the stock horn would fire. So that was one of the first things I added. The second thing I added was heated grips, because it was bloody cold on that. That was about 6 or 7 months later when I added the heated grips. The next thing to be added was from Ādmore Lighting, a Topbox lighting kit, which gave me a brake light and a position light in the Topbox, and that helped a lot, although I have been rear-ended even with that on. Soon after that, I added a rear brake light flasher that flashes the brake lights for half a second or whatever every time you, well, not quite every time you put them on. There is a a delay system. So, for example, in traffic like this, they'll have only flashed once for half a second. So after that, I installed some spotlights, because quite simply oh no, that I'm not correct. After that, I actually installed a xenon headlight, because the headlight in the rain on this is absolutely terrible. The low beam headlight is absolutely appalling. You can't see anything at night in the rain, absolutely nothing. I don't know what they were thinking when they designed it, but it's really appalling. That helped a little bit, but not really enough. So the next thing I added was some spotlights, LED spotlights. And at the same time, I added this piece of switchgear here, which came from Wing Stuff. Very expensive. It's machined from a solid piece of aluminium, and as you can see, it more or less looks like new. So even though it's probably 10 years old, 9 years old, something like that. So yes, and at the same time as I added the spotlights, I got another thing. I got a fuse box thingy from 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏, which I installed at the same time, because I had plans for installing other things, but what I found was that the power available, the electricity power on here, is not a lot. And so consequently, with the 𝗕𝗶𝗶𝗿𝗏, the heated grips and the spotlights, I could actually run out of power. So the next thing I added, and I don't know if you can see it, and you might have seen it, there's a little light just in the corner here, and that is a voltage meter. And it's absolutely fantastic. It came from a chap in Scotland. I'll put the link in the description below. And so it came from a chap in Scotland. It's got a small circuit board on it, but it's so small, and I do mean so small, that you don't even know that the circuit board is there. It's auto dimming in the light, and it's green when everything's good, and then flashing orange, and then red, and then flashing red, depending on the various different states of the battery. So I put that on because I was running out of battery power. And the next thing that I needed after that was a new battery, because the battery did die. So I got a lithium iron phosphate battery, which cost a lot of money. Now, the battery died after about 4.5 years, and the lithium iron phosphate battery has been in for about nearly 10 years now. It's 9.5 years. Much more power on it. Absolutely fantastic. Cost a lot of money, but bearing in mind that it's been in for 10 years, it's cost me, I think if you amortise it, it's about €12 a year for the battery, and there's no signs of any problems with it. It's a 𝗪𝗀𝘅. Again, I'll put a link in the description below, and you can have a look at that for this battery. It's another one of those fantastic things that you really need. You do. So that's about most of what I've done. 4 years ago, I changed the seat and put on a 𝗕𝗀𝘁𝗲𝗏 comfort seat, which is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Oh, I forgot to mention, I've got the big lids, which I bought off a chappie in the UK, actually. I think he was RAF or something. When he sold his Deauville, he put the normal size lids on, and I bought his big lids off him, and he sent them over. He's ex-RAF. He was on the Deauville forum, and so I bought those off him. I forgot about those. Yeah. Right. I say, so I got the seat, and then the final thing that I bought was a set of valve caps, Honda valve caps, which have been on for about 3 years. And so those are all the things that I've bought for the bike. Now, let's talk about servicing, that type of thing. She's been serviced every 6,000 kilometers, which is 4,000 miles, following the book, and it was all done by, well, nearly all done, not quite. There's been about 3 services that have not been done by outsider. Excuse me, I do apologise, 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. So, and fully stamped book, and so on. So that was the servicing. As I say, I go through a set of brake pads every 12,000 kilometers, and I go through a set of tyres about every 25,000 kilometers. So that gives you some idea what it's like commuting in a major city. The first set of tyres that it came with were the BT21s. I put BT23s on when they died, and then after that it's been the Michelin PR series and then the Road series. And I can honestly say that the Michelin PR series and Road series are absolutely phenomenal on this bike. Absolutely phenomenal. They have immense amount of grip in the wet. They're really good as commuter tyres, and if you're looking for a sport touring or a touring tyre, which will give you about between 24 and 27,000 kilometres on the so it's about 24 on the rear and about 27,000 on the front, then this is what you want. I mean, it really is a phenomenal tyre. So I'm following more or less the exact route that I took. Now, the reason I'm going here is because when I picked up the motorbike, there was no fuel in it. It's now full, but the first place I came was to this petrol station here and filled up with petrol. I did. So I'm not actually going to do it. I'm just going to stop here and show you. So I filled up with fuel there, and then I went home. So I'm going to do that to the home that I had before. I'm not actually going to go exactly where I live, but I shall go close to it. Right, so servicing. Let's get on to the servicing. So every 6,000 kilometers, she's had her service, as I say, as per the book. So, you know, if it was a big service at the 36,000, then the big service it was. I know that some of the services cost me well over €1,000, but she's only had one breakdown as such, and that was the clutch cable broke. I was able to get home, but I wasn't able to get any further than home, so I needed to replace the clutch cable before I could go anywhere else on that. So that's the only major breakdown. We've had a few punctures, quite a few. Not just one or two, I mean quite a few. But again, the Michelin tyres are fantastic, even with a puncture. They're quite predictable, they're great, and I would recommend them to anybody. Okay, so what's been replaced? Well, the clutch cable, of course. That's been replaced. Apart from tyres and brake pads, as I say, which were virtually every, well, the brake pads were every second service, and the tyres were basically every fourth service, approximately. The clutch has been replaced, the clutch plates and so on was replaced at about, if I remember rightly, about 130,000 kilometres approximately. I replaced the clutch on that. At about 150,000, the water pump was replaced. There was quite a lot replaced at about 180,000. There was the brake discs. All the brake discs were below spec, so they were all replaced at then the centre stand was replaced because that snapped. Yep, okay. That was due to water pooling inside it while it was parked on the side stand. So if you're going to park your bike on the side stand, then I very strongly recommend that you the weep holes on the centre stand, that you put oil in them and give them a good swish around. What else? So brake discs, centre stand, and then I've replaced the thermostat and the two little rubber washers on the joint pipe. Oh, and I've recalibrated the TPS, the throttle position sensor, because that was that threw up a bit of a wobbly. So I didn't replace that. I recalibrated it, which is quite easy. Sorry, while I'm talking to you, I'm not actually going as fast as I could do. So but this is my route home most days on this. Though this is the worst I've ever seen this traffic, I must admit. It is the worst I've ever seen this traffic. So that's that. Now, as a commuter vehicle, she is absolutely fantastic. Most of the mileage that I've done, or kilometrage if you wish, has been in and around Paris and so on. Oh, it's the bin men, that's the problem. Okay. Has been in and around Paris. I've done 2 long trips, one to Poitiers and then to the Loire Atlantic and then back to Paris, and the other one was to Dieppe. And those are the 2 long trips that I've taken. But as I say, the rest of it has been in around, you could say, Greater Paris. So that's that. Oh, I have missed something. I'm just looking at it now. I put handlebar risers on it about 7 or 8 years ago, and they're 1-inch risers, and they really have made a difference to the seating position. As I say, it's made it a lot more comfortable. Oops. Ah, DeLorean. I've had to, due to a number of accidents, both mirrors have been replaced at least once, or possibly even twice each. They tend to break quite easily, and the other thing that tends to break are the case lids. They tend to break if you drop the bike, and I know I dropped the bike on the narrow lids. This has got the wide lids on, and the lid just shattered. Right, so that's that. This is approximately where I used to live, just over there a little bit. Oh, this is new. Didn't used to be a stop sign here. There is a school, so I imagine that's what it's there for. A school there. So, 1 Deauville in black, 14 years old today. It's got the ABS on it, and if you're looking at a Deauville and you're thinking, should I get one? I would say yes, you should. I'm looking for somewhere flat. Over here will do. I would say yes, get one. What are the things to look out for? Well, it's that washer on the washers on the pipe between the 2 cylinders. As soon as the bike gets to about 12 years old, they do need replacing. The thermostat and the thermostat gasket will need replacing at about the same time. Say the clutch, that's fine for, well, probably about 100,000 miles, I would say, approximately. Just make sure it's been serviced properly, and that it's had the spark plug cap recall done. If you do have a problem with it missing or anything like that, just replace the spark plug caps just before you do anything else, because it is a known problem with these bikes that you have to get the correct NGK ones. Now, do not get them off eBay, because there are counterfeit ones on eBay, and they do not help at all. And so you say, oh, it's not that, it's something else, and what you've got are the counterfeit ones, and they're no good. Right, so that's it, a bit of a longer one today. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.